On June 16, 2023, a neighborhood on the west side of Cleveland, Ohio, became the backdrop for an incomprehensible crime. Crystal Candelario, a 31-year-old mother, came back from a 10-day vacation to discover a nightmare scenario in her own home. Her 16-month-old daughter was found in a dire state of neglect, her condition so severe that it rendered first responders speechless and brought hardened detectives to tears. As the investigation unfolded, it laid bare an even more shocking reality: the chain of events that led to such appalling neglect. In this video, we will examine the details of the Candelario case and confront the harrowing question that haunts everyone touched by this case. How and why could such a vulnerable child fall victim to what a judge has described as the ultimate betrayal?
If you don't mind,
Let's dive in.
Say and spell your first and last name.
Yes, Detective T.J. Powell, P-O-W-E-L-L, assigned to the Cleveland Police Homicide Unit. I was the lead detective investigator on this case, and I can honestly say, Your Honor, in my 17-year career as a Cleveland police officer, this by far is the most horrific case I've ever had to investigate. Now, I've been a detective for 10 years.
Crystal Candelario, born on September 11, 1991, is a 32-year-old single mother who relocated to the United States from Ecuador in 2016. She resides with her parents and two daughters in a 3-bedroom, 1-bath home in the Cadell neighborhood of Cleveland, Ohio. Since December 2022, Crystal has worked as a substitute teacher at Citizens Leadership Academy, a local elementary charter school. She holds a bachelor's degree from overseas. The State Board of Education records show that, except for 2023, Crystal has consistently applied for her annual substitute teaching license starting from 2020. In 2021, Crystal connected on Facebook with Henry Garcia, who lived in Ecuador. They began an online relationship and later traveled to the Dominican Republic to spend more time together. According to Garcia, Crystal returned to Ohio and, from there, notified him of her pregnancy. As per court records, Crystal claimed the couple were in a long-distance relationship and Garcia had become physically abusive during the pregnancy. Nevertheless, Crystal gave birth to daughter Jaylene in early 2022. It was clear through social media that Crystal was fond of traveling. She shared images of herself in various locations on Facebook. Yet, besides the occasional travel images, her Facebook posts mainly consisted of selfies in different poses and outfits interspersed with a few photos of her children. While Crystal had no record of felony offenses, she had a reputation in the neighborhood that raised a few eyebrows. Community members claim it was not uncommon for Crystal to leave her 1-year-old Jaylene in the house alone. In August 2022, prior to the arrival of Crystal's parents, a neighbor agreed to watch Jaylene for a weekend. However, the arrangement unexpectedly turned into weeks, with Crystal unresponsive or evasive when contacted. According to a published report, one neighbor said, "I was the one calling her saying, 'Look, I don't have money to buy milk for your baby. What am I supposed to do?' She said it got to the point where Jaylene was calling her mama."
And neighbors told me this is not the first time Candelario has left the baby home alone.
We keep telling her not to leave her by herself. Not only me, my friend across the street too, but she always be here by herself.
They got to know and love little Jaylene. They say they took Jaylene in many times when Candelario went to work, even describing her as one of their own. According to these neighbors, Candelario left Jaylene often.
It wasn't really her mom that was taking care of her, it was her grandma that was mostly taking care of her. Her mom always wanted to go out and just left her with her grandma and all that.
Neighbors added that Jaylene was otherwise well cared for and showed no apparent signs of physical injury. Based on a report by News 5 Cleveland, officials with Children and Family Services claim there is no record of previous cases involving Candelario. As the 2023 school year ended, Crystal, eager for her favorite summer activity, planned a vacation. With her eldest daughter away with her parents, she scheduled a trip to Puerto Rico to rendezvous with her boyfriend from June 8th to June 11th. Surveillance from a doorbell camera showed her leaving her home on June 6th, carrying a suitcase, as she had arranged a short stay in Detroit before heading to Puerto Rico. By all accounts, Crystal was living her best life while on vacation, enjoying the sun, clear blue Caribbean waters, nightlife, and the company of friends. On June 9th, she made a social media post from the Isla Verde beach in Puerto Rico with the caption, "Time enjoyed is the true time lived." Yet, this joy sharply contrasted with the terrifying event that was about to unfold. Crystal arrived in the mainland U.S. on June 11th, but did not go straight home. Instead, she spent several days in Detroit with friends. Upon returning home on June 16th at about 7:36 a.m., Crystal found her 1-year-old daughter alone in her playpen, unresponsive and with sunken eyes. She called the police 11 minutes later. Police and ambulance personnel quickly arrived at the scene, but nothing could prepare them for the horrific nature of what they were about to witness. Jaylene was discovered in a small playpen on a liner stained with urine, feces, and soiled blankets. Emergency responders found her to be extremely dehydrated and pronounced her dead shortly after they arrived. Jaylene's grim condition left officers bewildered, questioning how such a tragedy could occur to an innocent 1-year-old. They began their search for answers by questioning Crystal. Crystal's explanation of the events puzzled the officers, who, at this point, were unaware that she had been out of town since June 6th. They were primarily concerned by her calm manner just hours after finding her daughter dead, along with her descriptions of clear signs of physical distress in her daughter that necessitated medical intervention, help that was never sought. Consequently, they decided to take Crystal to the police station for a formal and thorough interrogation. After taking the time to investigate Crystal's inconsistent claims, detectives obtained overwhelming evidence, including ring camera footage of June 9th, which captured what they believed to be Jaylene's final cries. Investigators concluded that Crystal had knowingly left her 16-month-old daughter home alone in a 2-by-3-foot playpen for 10 days without food or water while she vacationed in various locations. The autopsy's findings of starvation and severe dehydration as the causes of death corroborate this conclusion. According to the medical examiner, Jaylene most likely passed away sometime between June 9th and the 13th. Subsequently, Crystal was arrested on June 18th. A grand jury returned an indictment of aggravated murder, 2 counts of murder, 1 count of felonious assault, and 1 count of endangering a child. Her bond was set at $1 million. The case moved quickly through the court system, leading to an initial trial date in January 2024, which a judge later rescheduled to February 26th. But 4 days before trial, Crystal was offered and accepted a plea deal. By agreeing to plead guilty to aggravated murder and 1 count of endangering a child, the other charges against her were dropped. Since accepting a plea deal meant no trial, sentencing was set for March 18th. At this hearing, Sergeant Teresa Gomez shared her reflections on the case.
So she can have an accurate spelling.
Teresa Gomez, Teresa Gomez. Good morning, Your Honor. Your Honor, thank you for allowing me to be the voice for Jaylene Candelario, a beautiful angel whose life was cut short for no good reason. This tragedy should have never happened. I am Sergeant Gomez from the Homicide Unit. The entire Homicide Unit, Cleveland Homicide Initiative, and our partners from the FBI are here today in honor of baby Jaylene Candelario. When we were first notified of this horrific case, we were all heartbroken. But when we started digging deeper into the investigation, it was beyond horrific. It was revealed that the defendant, Crystal Candelario, left her own child alone for hours, which led to days, which led to weeks. This 16-month-old baby was left alone in a pack-and-play to fend for herself for 11 days with no food, maybe milk, the clothing she had on, and the diaper she was wearing. This baby loved her mother, she needed her mother, and her mother betrayed her. Mothers usually want their children to have a long, happy life, but Candelario placed more importance on a vacation in Puerto Rico with her boyfriend than the health, safety, and well-being of her own daughter. She chose to satisfy her own needs and desires over that of her own child.
Crystal's court-appointed attorney was in the unenviable position of trying to defend the indefensible. Before the judge handed down his sentence, Crystal Candelario was offered the opportunity to speak.
Ms. Candelario, you want to stand up and address the court?
Your Honor, good morning. Sorry. Hay mucho dolor que tengo con respecto a la pérdida de mi bebé Yailin.
There's so much pain that I have in regards to the loss of my baby, Yailin.
Estoy muy dolida por todo lo que pasó.
I'm extremely hurt about everything that happened.
No estoy tratando de justificar mis actos,
I am not trying to justify my actions,
pero nadie sabe cuánto yo estaba sufriendo.
but nobody knew how much I was suffering
Y por lo que estaba pasando.
and what I was going through.
Todos los días le pido perdón a Dios y a mi hija, Yailin.
Every day I ask forgiveness from God and from my daughter, Jaylene.
Soy una persona creyente de Dios
I'm a person who believes in God.
y reconozco hoy que todos y todas, muchas ocasiones, somos tentados por el enemigo.
And I recognize today that all of us are sometimes subject to the enemy.
Dios y mi hija me han perdonado.
God and my daughter have forgiven me.
As a court, I have to remember Jalen, where you did not. Just as you didn't let Jalen out of her confinement until she died, so too, you should spend the rest of your life in a cell without freedom. The only difference will be that prison will at least feed you and give you liquids that you denied her. Based on all these factors, based on all the things I've looked at, and I'm marking this as State's Exhibit 1 for the court of order. On count 1, aggravated murder, I'm going to sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole.